Hello, everybody. Thank you for your patience. I'm Gina Adams with Wareologie, and I'm thrilled to be here with the talented artist, Reveca Torres. She is a fashion designer, costume designer. She's the co-director for the ReelAbilities Film Festival Chicago, and she's also the curator of the touring exhibition called Reinventing the Wheel. And of course, last but not least, she is the founder of Backbones, a nonprofit that was really inspired to ensure that anybody with a disability has the resources, whether that's recreation, advocacy work, going to college, learning how to travel, employment opportunities, fitness, and more. Backbones is the place to go. So, Reveca, thank you so much for joining us today. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
So I'm here in Metro Detroit. Tell us where you're from.
I'm right outside of Chicago in the northwest suburbs.
Fantastic. So we're on the upper hemisphere here. So today we're going to talk about not only the extraordinary accomplishments that you have, but also through Wareologie, we invented and launched our company to look at adaptive devices, clothing, and accessories that really help empower people to look and feel their best. And so I've been interviewing different professionals to learn more about technology that you rely on. And I'm really excited because you're the first artist that I've had a chance to meet. And so if you don't mind telling the audience, maybe just start with your background and your love of fashion and just how you got here.
Sure. My background is in theater and fashion design. Ever since I was a kid, I was very into arts and pretty creative, and just, did was involved in a lot of creative things. And after my injury, I was injured when I was 13. I didn't really know if that was going to be something that I could still do as a quadriplegic and having limitation in my hands and stuff. So I had to relearn how to draw and paint, and then eventually learned how to sew with a machine that had a button right in the front of it so that I didn't have to use my feet to pedal. And so after that, I was like, okay, I could do this. And I decided to go to school for fashion design after I graduated high school, and did that for 3 years, and then transferred to the University of Arizona, where I got a degree in theater. Then came back to Chicago and did some costume design for a few years. And at the same time, I was also doing a lot of disability advocacy work. And then in 2009 was when I decided to start Backbones, the nonprofit that I have been. It's been 11 years now.
Congratulations. That is not a real easy thing to do. I mean, there's a lot of pulling together a board, and of course your fundraising, and a lot of paperwork. And so just getting the nonprofit itself established is a huge accomplishment. And
especially when you're an artist and you have no idea what you're doing.
Right, exactly. And so, before we go too far ahead, for people who are watching, this is Reveca Torres with Backbones. And for people who may not know your story, you suffered an accident when you were 13. Is that right?
Correct. Yeah.
And so, back, when we were in school, that process, I'm so glad to hear that you were able to actually find a sewing machine, for instance, that, talk about amazing technology, right? And so do you have use of your hands, or no, limited?
No, my injury is a C6 or C5 through 7. My function is about a C6, typical for a spinal cord injury. My hands, I'll show you, I don't have use of my fingers, but I can use my wrists. So it was a lot of, obviously I couldn't use a pedal like a normal regular sewing machine. So that button really saved me because it, I would push the button and it'd start sewing, push it, it would stop sewing. And then it also had another button that would cut the thread for me. I had scissors that were adapted from an occupational therapist, helped me adapt some scissors so that I would be able to cut on my own. So I made it work. I just kind of figured out how to do it, and I can pin clothes. And if you think about, using a pin, how tiny it is, but I figured out how to handle a pin with my hands, sometimes using my mouth, or other tools that have helped me.
Wow. Now, do you feel, I mean, because you were a costume designer too, tell us a little bit about that, and what industry were you designing costumes for?
Well, I haven't done costumes in a long time, well, at least like I used to. I used to be doing for dance and theater, so mostly for the stage. And so for dancers, I had to really think about clothing that and costumes that were that the dancers would be able to move easily, and also, being able to change quickly when necessary. So, on top of design, you also had to think about like function and what the dancers or the actors needed to be doing and how that would function for the stage.
Right. That's always the challenge, is that you want it to look beautiful, but then of course the functionality is a priority. Like, I don't understand, for me, why they don't put pockets and everything, because I always need to have some place to put my phone, right? So have you found like that you have retrofitted your own clothes to suit your functionality needs better?
Sometimes I have done some of that, like especially when a couple times that I was asked to be in friends' weddings, and party dresses are just so difficult to get into, and with my injury, I need to cath to empty my bladder, and I got a surgery where I can cath through my belly button. They redirected an opening to my bladder through my belly button, so that I can do that independently, and I don't have to worry about taking my pants off and getting on a toilet and things like that. So I need access to my belly button, and this is probably more information than your audience needs to know, but
no, it's fascinating. Yeah, no. So you've had to modify some shirts or whatnot.
Yeah, and like, thinking about, for me, sometimes pants are difficult if the buttons are too hard to open, or if I'm wearing a dress, I prefer wearing, a top and a skirt than a dress, because it's easier just to have better access when I do need to use the washroom. And so, yeah, there's just like, I did end up designing some dresses that had some secret openings and things like that, so that I could be more independent.
Well, I'm glad you actually mentioned, well, I'm glad, first of all, that you have the skill set to adapt and modify, because it's kind of a lost skill. I feel like my daughter, I have a 17-year-old, and she's spent a lot of time down in my sewing room throughout these quarantine days, just retrofitting. She buys a lot of thrifted clothes, and then she'll retrofit them to make them stylish and cute. But you mentioned the pants, and actually I'm so excited. This fall we're coming out with a pant adapter. We designed the magnetic button adapters initially just after witnessing the impact of Parkinson's on my dad, and wanting to help him regain just one activity that buttoning became impossible for him. And so now we've been looking at a pant button adapter. It's actually a belt, because of the way you have to pull the button open. We've used a belt kind of mechanism. So I'll have to send that over to get your opinion when we can. So
yeah, that sounds exciting.
in addition to fashion, is there another particular medium that you prefer? I noticed that you're an author and a contributing author to New Mobility and Huffington Post, and so do you have like a special art form that you prefer? Or?
I like to play a lot, and I play with a little bit of everything, and I constantly like to learn new things. So, you know, I guess that could be a good thing and a bad thing, because I sometimes don't finish what I start because I get excited about the next thing. But yeah, I do illustration. I love using ink when I do my illustrations. Do some painting. I like to incorporate fabrics and textures into some of the visual paintings and stuff. But I recently, in the past few years, have been able to use a camera with using some apps on your phone that can be connected to the Wi-Fi and a camera. And I have really been enjoying using a camera for photography and for film.
Awesome. Do you have any of your work like published on your Facebook page or anything like that we could see it?
I don't. I have a website for my art. It's RevecaTorres.com, and I put some of that work on there, and then Instagram. What is it? Reveca RT.
Okay, I'll make sure I put that on our post when we get this out. Reveca RT is your Instagram. Okay. And this is kind of a silly question, but with when you're ink drawing, do you have a special tool for your hands, or do you use your mouth to draw?
I use my hands, and initially I would use a splint that had it would go around my hand, like right here in this section in the middle. And then it had like a pencil that came out this way, or like you could put your pen in there. I used that for a long time, and then eventually I learned how to do what I needed to do without it. I found it a little less limiting without using the splint, and then I would just use my two hands and grab a pen, or sometimes I'll stick it between my fingers to kind of anchor it. But yeah, I usually just use my hands.
Well, and I think this is a good segue to talk about reinventing the wheel and the exhibiting traveling show that you have. And could you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, this show actually was put together back in 2014, and what we did was we matched 21 people with spinal cord injuries from around the country to 21 photographers in their respective areas. Some of these people I didn't know, some I did, some, I reached out to others and asked for recommendations. The photographers we all found on Craigslist, and they were all really excited to participate in this project. And so what we did was we had them meet and just kind of have the photographer follow them around and create photo essays of their lives and of what a day in their life was like. And we have some people that are parents, some people that were like dancers or artists or athletes. And, we really got a range and a variety of different people, different ages, different backgrounds, and from all over the country. And it was really, really beautiful, the images that came from that. And the goal with that for me was, when we started Backbones in when we made our website was in 2010. And I was looking for images to put on the website. I didn't want it to be, sad, depressing images of people with disabilities, because that's not reflective of our lives. We live regular, normal lives where people go to school, people go to work, people have kids. And I wanted that to be I wanted that to come through on the website, because if we were trying to motivate people to go back to normalcy after an injury, like those are the images you have to see, and you have to see other people thriving. And yeah, and I did a stock photography search and Google search, and everything was just like really bad.
Really?
I mean, it's just like either really depressing or trying to be very inspirational, like in the sunset with the arms up in the air, and
Not real.
Yeah, not real. And so yeah, we for our website, we ended up hiring a photographer to do some of those images so that we can kind of control what the images said and what we wanted to portray. But yeah, for reinventing the wheel, we were able to get over 200 images that these 21 teams from around the country ended up submitting, and we made an exhibition out of that, which opened in Chicago and then toured to New York, to Pittsburgh, to Oregon, Washington, and currently part of it is at the Shirley Ryan Rehab Center here in Chicago. But yeah, you can find those images on our website, actually under the tab stories.
So go to backbones.org.
It's backbonesonline.com.
Okay.
And under the tab stories, you can find those 21 stories in there, and sort of read a little bit about each person. And the physical images are, part of them are here in my home right now. So if anyone wants to exhibit them, you can reach out to me.
I didn't mention Detroit, so I think we got to do something here. We're going to have to pull you here, and we'll work with some of our design core friends, and we'll have to host an exhibit. I'm sure with COVID-19, you've thought about doing a virtual tour, possibly, so that they are excited.
Yeah, that would be cool. We got to adapt to what's going on. So yeah.
Yeah, I heard a really interesting note on NPR the other day. A woman was talking about, somebody suggested a virtual art show, and she initially kind of like stuck her nose up in the air a little bit. She's like, you got to like be there with the art to experience it. And then she's like, well, wait a minute though, when would I ever get a chance to like put the Mona Lisa in one of my exhibits? Like, she's like, I could pull things from all around the world to, help tell the story. And so I think, she kind of had a light bulb go off a little bit. But this is, again, this really is interesting, because this exhibit called Reinventing the Wheel was basically inspired through Backbones then, because Backbones, let's talk about that. It's just such a great platform. There's so many opportunities for people to build community, which, as you're saying, when you can convey what life really is, which is for each individual, it's different going through their personal tragedy, but at the same time, when you can share those stories with people so that they do have hope, and they do realize, what, I am going to survive and thrive, but kind of where you put your energy. And so Backbones is the perfect platform to provide that positive energy.
Thank you. Yeah, we that really is what is behind Backbones, is connection. And we sometimes forget what a big difference having connection to other people like ourselves, what a big difference that can make. And for me, at the age of 13, there really wasn't another girl my age that I could talk to. So, I think at the time I didn't feel like depressed or sad, because I had a lot of family support and friends and the community. But looking back, like I did feel alone, because I didn't have someone else to talk to. And I didn't really find that until I went to college, when I went to Arizona, where they had adaptive sports programs. And there was a lot of students there that had disabilities like myself. And that just opened up my world. Like I learned so much from them. You know, people were traveling, people were dating, people had jobs. I was like, oh, I could do all of that too, when I thought that I couldn't. And so I think it makes a big, big difference to just have someone to talk to ask questions. And that's kind of how it started. We're matching people one-on-one. And the organization was modeled after Immerman Angels, which is another organization here in Chicago that provides support for cancer fighters and survivors. Yeah, Johnny Immerman, the founder, has been such a great friend and mentor to me to help me start the organization. And so yeah, we did the matching one-on-one for a while. We still do that when people request to be connected with someone, similar age, background, type of injury, so that when they talk, it's not just about the injury. You know, we want people to have similar interests and so that they have other things to talk about as well. And then we also branched out to hosting events. We started with a fundraiser, really, and saw that at this fundraiser, people were talking to each other and they were exchanging phone numbers, and they were asking questions. They were becoming friends on Facebook. And I was like, these people are getting this peer support, not in a traditional way, like, you know, like that you would think going to a support group where you sit around and in a circle or whatever, you know, what people assume a support group might be, that sometimes can be intimidating to people. But this was a more natural way and a more social way for people to meet each other and find that connection and that support. And so, yeah, we do a ton of events now. Well, right now, not in person, but we've done things like wine tastings and 5Ks, scavenger hunts. We've done fashion shows, the film festival, art shows, and sports outings with all different kinds of varieties of activities, because not everyone likes the same thing, obviously, you know, and we want to appeal to different interests. So.
And I saw you guys were part of the wheelchair cleaning event too. Was that recently?
Yeah, we did that. Actually, that was last summer.
Oh, it was?
Yeah,
okay.
Last summer. I don't think they did it this year, obviously, but that was really fun. Yeah, it was a wheelchair wash where people could just go and get their chairs clean, and while you were waiting, you could get your nails done, and you could have some pizza, and it was really fun.
So, the Peer Connect, is that kind of how you're hosting these events, or is Peer Connect a different branch of what Backbones offers?
So Peer Connect started last year. Yeah, last year. And this came out of, it was an idea that we had our interns from Adler University that were working for us that year. And they came up with this idea to host these peer groups online through Zoom. And so we kind of got a head start from Zoom before all of this. And we were
you're pros.
Yeah. But so the idea behind that was that we were getting a lot of people contacting us saying, you know, I'm really isolated. I feel depressed. I just had an injury. I live in a small town in, you know, XYZ, and there's nobody here like me. I don't know another person in a wheelchair. There's no resources here. And, you know, it's hard to say, yeah, we're going to go have an event where you're at and you're going to meet all these people, because it wasn't something that was doable, impossible. So we decided to do these, host these types of groups online, so that we would be able to reach people that would not have the opportunity to connect with us otherwise, and also people that maybe had a pressure sore and was stuck in bed for months, and you know, this was their way to connect with people, or maybe someone who doesn't have transportation and can't get to an event. So it's just a way, another layer of connection for people.
That's wonderful. And who did you say put this together? What group?
It was our interns.
Oh,
We
your
had 3 interns from the university, from Adler University that year. They kind of started with the idea, and then their program ended. And then when the next set of interns came in after them, they continued the project. And so,
do you have luck getting interns during the fall? Are you able to recruit interns year round?
yeah, we've been working with that university, with Adler University, for about 6 years. They have worked with us,
Okay.
to provide interns. We've also had interns from Willamette University in Oregon from an MBA program that have helped us on several projects. So I love students.
I do too.
They're creative, and they're motivated, and they do great work most of the time.
Yeah, I'm sad to say goodbye to a lot of my summer interns from this year. They were amazing, and they're all back off to school, and so we're down to 3 of us. So that's okay though. We got it. We got it. So tell us a little bit then, what in terms of backbones, it sounds like you have a lot of events that people can meet people. You have the Peer Connect that people can join. These are is there a regular schedule for the Peer Connect, or these just come up? We can look at your website, backbonesonline.org, to find out those events, right?
Yes, you can usually find them on our events page, or we'll be sharing them through social media. But we usually have the Peer Connect the second or third week of the month.
Okay.
And our coordinator, I'm so happy to be able to be working with Shannon Kelly, who's our coordinator for that program. She's very, very creative and comes up with all these fun topics and book discussions and film discussions and things like that. So
yeah, it looks really exciting. She does a great job curating that for sure. And then, of course, tell us about the leadership program, which is the other kind of opportunity.
Yeah, this has been a super exciting program for me. We started this, I started thinking about it last year, and thinking about how we could get more development opportunities for people with spinal cord injuries, and helping them gain the skills to, again, to thrive and to feel confident to go back out into the community, to look for employment, to advocate for themselves and for the community. And because those were a lot of the things that people reach out to us looking for resources on different topics like that. And so, I kind of looked around to see what programs were out there to help people develop these type of skills, and there wasn't anything. And so I was like, okay, well, we'll do it ourselves. And this program, we have 11 participants. This is the first time we do it in 2020. We have 11 participants from different regions around the country, different levels of injury. And it's a year-long program. Every month is a different topic. And we meet every month for about 2 hours over Zoom. And we have a guest speaker on a particular topic. We have discussions and interactive activities during that. And then in the time in between meetings, the participants have assignments that they complete in regards, that are related to whatever topic. And so we've had things like, our topics are self-advocacy, self-care, community organizing. We did public speaking, intersectionality and cross disability, and others that I can't think of off the top of my head. But the participants are awesome. Like, we have a really great group of people, and James Murtha is one of them. And it's just, I'm so impressed by them, and they're committed. They show up every week, and they have contributed so much to this program that I know that it's something that's going to continue, onto next year. This was kind of like an experiment, I guess, and I think we're going to continue it because it's.
Well, if you were able to thrive and survive through the challenges of COVID-19 and pull together this group, and you haven't lost anybody yet, right? Everybody's going strong.
Yeah.
And for those that are watching, so James Murtha is our Chief Innovation Officer from Wareologie. So he's based here in Ann Arbor, Michigan. And what was the application process for selecting your first cohort?
We had a written application, or it was an online application that they filled out, and then we had a panel of people that I was not on because I knew some of the people that applied, and I wanted to not be biased or anything.
Yep.
So I had our board members look at the applications and sort of narrow it down to a group. And then from that group, we had them submit a short video. I think it was either like 2 or 3 minute video with some specific questions on leadership and goals and things like that. And then from there, we selected the final participants.
And we have a big graduation date coming up, right? October 22nd is your celebration.
We're doing a virtual event October 22nd. Their program won't finish until November, will be their last month, but they've been working on part of what they've been working on is event planning and how to put together an event that is accessible for people with disabilities. And we've talked about different levels of accessibility and points of like making something welcoming and accessible for people with disabilities, and now how that translates into a virtual world. So the event will be a virtual event that they have been planning, and I've been helping them, and also our coordinator for that program is Jen Wolf from Iowa, and we'll be doing that October 22nd, and they'll be sharing kind of what they did throughout the year and what they learned, and also some entertainment. Of
course. I mean, how could you host an event that didn't have entertainment and art involved? So awesome. Could you tell us, in terms of, if we talk about technology for a minute, and if there's any thing out there that you think people should know about or be using because it's just made your life that much more easier or enjoyable, is there anything out there like that you're using that you found that might be, I don't know, not so obvious to other people?
I think there's like a lot of apps lately that have been really helpful. Well, like I mentioned, the app that I use with the camera to be able to take photos, because for me, holding a camera is difficult. And so, and I love to take photos. So like an app like that. Also my phone has I'm able to take a picture with my phone by just saying capture or smile by having it voice activated. And then.
What's the name of that app?
It's Canon Connect.
Okay.
So it works with Canon cameras, but I believe there are others for different brand cameras as well.
Great. I did not know that voice, that you could do that. So it actually translates it. Does it see the image, or is your camera in position and you just talk to your camera? You talk to your app on your phone to trigger the camera to take the picture?
Oh, well, the one where I talk to the camera is actually the camera that's built into my phone. I have a Samsung phone, an Android phone that I could just say capture, I can say smile, or I could say record video and it will start doing that. And that's actually a feature from the phone that
Okay.
I happened to come across that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's great.
So I think a lot of that type of technology that's like very hands-free, and to be able to use your voice to do things like, you know, Alexa and the Google Home, and now for me, I just installed a oh, what is it called? It's a lock on my door that I can unlock my door with an app, and also like my thermometer, so I can control my temperature in my home with the app on my phone. So I think
That's
it's
great.
all this technology is really, you know, it's technology that's accessible to everyone regardless of disability, and that's really awesome. And now I have my new buttons that I hadn't seen before.
Yay! Thank you for wearing those.
And
So what did you think? Give us your honest opinion. There, you know, it's the first edition.
well, I'll be honest that this shirt that I'm wearing is not mine. My friend let me borrow it because a long time ago when I was doing a photo shoot, and I never gave it back to her. But it's the only like button-up shirt that I have, because I don't usually get button-up shirts because I just don't do the buttons. So this is cool because now I can. And I really like, they're easy to, I won't pull on it and show you because I might flash people, but it's very easy to open and close. And I like that the button is not, it's not ugly, to be honest. So
Important.
a lot of things that are made to be for people with disabilities are not good looking sometimes. And so this is nice. It looks just like, you know, it looks like a button, so it's not distracting and it's easy.
Well, thank you for pointing that out, because we felt like so many of the products look like they were created in a rehabilitation site, which they probably were, because OTs are the most amazing, compassionate people who are trying to retrofit and make lives easier for people. But we wanted to come up with a solution so people can wear whatever shirt they want, not be limited in assortment, and be able to just retrofit them. Now, obviously you had to have help putting them on your shirt because they are, you know, you need dexterity to put them on. Did whoever attached them, did they have any feedback? Were they okay with it?
Yeah, she said it was really easy. I actually took a video of it in case you want it, and I'll send it.
Oh, yeah, awesome.
We're opening the box and installing it so that people could see how easy it is to just put on. It was very easy. Obviously, I can't do it with my hands, but she was able to just pop it right in, and then the instructions are very easy. So.
Well, thank you, Reveca Torres. It's so nice to get to meet you. James spoke so highly of you, and then when I started looking at all the amazing work that Backbones is doing, it's really a pleasure to be able to share all of the amazing work that you're doing in the advocacy, because community is king. And I have to say, I met Mr. Amarin's brother, so from Emmerman Angels. His brother spoke at one of my kind of entrepreneurial ship workshops here in Detroit.
Oh, right. They're from Michigan.
Jeff, I think, is his brother's name.
Jeff, yeah.
And so when you mentioned him, it's so funny because I think that that's such a great, you know, to build off of initiatives that are working, right? We don't always have to reinvent the wheel. And by doing that kind of due diligence and research and looking at, you know, what's successful. And so you can kind of get to from point A to point B a little bit quicker with fewer hurdles and bumps and bruises. So that was so smart to do that. And I'm so excited for you going on your 11th year.
Yeah, can't believe it.
So we can find you. We're going to post this once we log off, but in the comments, I will post the different websites of where we can find you and how we can follow you on Instagram and check out your amazing art that you've been pursuing, photography, but it's backbonesonline.org is your website.
.com.
It's .com. Okay.
Yeah.
backbonesonline.com. We're going to post this for everybody. And we can follow you on Instagram at Reveca RT, and that's REVECA RT. And so I will post this. Are there any parting words or words of advice that you'd like to leave our viewers with today?
No, I'd love for people to get involved with Backbones and follow what we're doing.
And share
it.
Like that is so important because don't be afraid to network, right? And then, people, when they are feeling isolated, I tell you, maybe women are more, inclined to kind of talk about emotions and things like that. But some of the groups that I've been participating in, and, even for my own support groups, there's something to be said about sharing and learning different techniques and tips, and so that you're not as alone. You're not isolated. We've all kind of been there, or I cannot put myself in your particular shoes, but that's the whole beauty of Backbones Online, because it does partner you with other people that have gone through similar experiences. And so you don't have to reinvent the wheel. So thank you so much for offering this resource. It's amazing. And we look forward to sharing it with all of our viewers and being in touch. And I think my daughter might be going to school in Chicago. So you're not very far away. So I'm going to have to look you up, and we'll grab some coffee the next time we're in town.
That would be awesome. I would love that.
All right. Thank you, Reveca. I'm going to go ahead and sign off, but I'm Gina Adams with Wareologie. You can find us at buttonstobutton.com. It's kind of a spin on words. Buttons to Button is a spin-off on a White Stripes song. They're from Detroit. Hardest Button to Button. Thought you might appreciate that, Reveca, being a music lover. Yes. So thank you so much, and we'll see you soon. Okay, take care.
You too. Thanks.